message that I've talked about many times. I think I sent out, yeah, I did. I sent out a handout. It's Hashem Mishmuel and Parshas Behaaloscha. Parshas Behaaloscha has the upside down nuns, you remember. We don't have time to go into why there are upside down nuns. Question in the Gemara in Shabbos. There are two opinions about the upside down nuns. One of the events after the upside down nuns, it says, "Vayihi ha'om k'mesonanim." The Jewish people became belly achers. They became complainers. But right before the upside down nuns, Moshe Rabbeinu said, we're getting ready to go into Eretz Yisrael. Next week, unfortunately, is the Meraglim, and we get delayed for 40 years. But in this week's Parasha Behaaloscha, Moshe Rabbeinu is still talking about, we're getting ready, we're crossing the Jordan to go into Eretz Yisrael. And before they actually start moving towards Eretz Yisrael, it says, "Va'aron bris Hashem nosei lefneim shlosha yomim." The Aron. Remember, we had a diagram in Masechta Midos. Get that diagram. It's the diagram of how the Jewish people traveled in the desert. Our diagram 10, you don't need to look for your diagram, it was a diagram 10. There were 3 Shvatim on the north, 3 Shvatim on the south, 3 Shvatim on the west, 3 Shvatim on the east. Ephraim and Menashe were 2 Shvatim. And that was the Jewish camp on the outside. And then inside that camp was the camp of the Leviim. And inside that camp was the Mishkan. And basically, without getting into complications, this is how the Jewish people traveled. The Mishkan would be folded up. There would be 2 Jewish camps in front of the Mishkan and 2 Jewish camps in the back of the Mishkan. And they would walk through the desert until they got the God signal to stop. They would start putting the Mishkan back together, and they would set themselves up in 3 tribes in each direction. But that's how they traveled. The key point here is they traveled with the Aron in the center, 2 Shvatim in front and 2 Shvatim behind. Before the upside down nuns in this week's Parsha, it says that the Aron left. The Aron went just, whoop. The Aron was now 3 days ahead of the Bnei Yisrael. So you had the 12 Shvatim, and instead of the Aron being behind 2 and in front of 2, the Mishkan, Aron, and 2 behind, suddenly the Aron went further than the Jewish people by 3 days. There was now 3 days that separated the Jewish people from the Aron. And then we have Vayihi ha'om k'mesonanim. The Jewish people started to bellyache. They started to complain. And this is one of several unfortunate incidences at the end of this week's Parsha. What were they complaining about? God had a plan, Rashi tells us, to bring the Jewish people into Eretz Yisrael very quickly. It was going to be a miracle. They were going to travel through the desert very quickly. And the Aron was 3 days ahead of them already. This sounds great. This sounds like an expedited nefesh b'nefesh program. Let's get to Eretz Yisrael as quickly as we can. And God is doing that. He's going to speed up the process. Instead of going slowly through the desert, boom, we're going to get to Eretz Yisrael very quickly, and the Aron is already 3 days ahead of us. This sounds great. But human beings are human beings, and people are people. And no matter what you do sometimes for people, they're going to find a way to complain. The Jewish people said, "Kama levatnu baderech." We can't do this. We're traveling too fast. We have women, we have wives, children, cattle. We can't travel so fast to get to Eretz Yisrael. Can we slow down a little? Kama levatnu baderech. And so they start belly aching. It's too fast. That's the picture of the part of the parsha that I'd like to talk about for a brief few minutes. Again, the background that we need to understand here is that unlike other trips that were supposed to occur in the desert, two tribes, the Aron and the next two tribes, and they would move together. The Aron was taken by the Ribono Shel Olam out of the camp and was now 3 days away from the Jewish people. What does this signify? What is this telling us? We know that this is a trip to Eretz Yisrael. The Jewish people are on their way to Eretz Yisrael. Why is the Aron, looks like the Aron's running away from them. The Aron should be in their midst. They're moving to Eretz Yisrael, and all of a sudden the Aron's 3 days away from them. Why is the Aron running away from them when they're about to go into Eretz Yisrael? And this is the subject that the Shem Mishmuel is going to discuss. Shem Mishmuel is a son of the Avnei Nezer, the great posek of the early 1900s. And the Avnei Nezer was a son-in-law of the Kotzker Rebbe, Zechron Tzadik Levracha. So you have the Shem Mishmuel, the Kotzker Rebbe, the Avnei Nezer, his son-in-law, and the Shem Mishmuel, his son. The Shem Mishmuel had a son, by the way, who I had the fortune of meeting. He lived in Tel Aviv for many years. He died several years ago. He was over 100. So the Shem Mishmuel's son was a great-grandson of the Kotzker Rebbe. The Kotzker Rebbe, Avnei Nezer, Shem Mishmuel's son. The Shem Mishmuel, this is classic Hasidic thought. Shem Mishmuel is commenting about why the Aron's running away. He says as follows, at the bottom of the page in the right-hand corner. Ba'ofen ached isa b'shem habal Shem Tov zal b'divrei medrash rabba yenagenu al mus. We talked about this very early in the Midah Shiurim. I don't think it was a Midah Shiurim, but it was a Dana Midah Shiurim. There's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, Hu yenagenu al mus. God will lead us al mus. Literally, that's translated, God will lead us beyond death. Even after a person dies, God continues to take care of us. Hu yenagenu al mus. Mus moves. Misa. He will lead us even beyond death. There's another pshat that you read the two words together. Almus. Almus means a young person. Batelech alma. We have the word alma or elem in many different places in Tanakh and refers to a young person. So the Baal Shem Tov said, rather than understanding the pasuk, he will lead us beyond death, one can also understand the pasuk, he will lead us like young children. What does that mean? The chamo tinok b'shosha av malamdo leilech shatinok miskarev etzel humachek es atzmi mimenu. I'm at the top of page kuf samach tes k'dei lahargilo leilech v'nimtza haricho tova latinok ayin sham. For those of you who remember, we talked about a little child. You want to teach a child how to walk. How do you teach a child how to walk? The child, first you get him, you stand him up on his 2 feet. 1 second, 2 seconds, he plops down. You try to pick him up again. Sometimes he'll start crying. You get it from 2 seconds to 5 seconds. And then eventually he's able to stand. And then you slowly move away from him. You put out your hands. And you're trying to encourage him to start the foot movement. Start moving your feet to come towards me. And sometimes he'll start, or may take a couple of days before he'll start. He'll take a step, and he's waiting to fall into your arms. And maybe the first day you let him fall into your arms. The next day you stand the child up, you put out your arms. The child takes the first step, the same step he took the day before, but now you move back. You take a step back because now you want him to take 2 steps. And he's a little disappointed that you moved away from him. He doesn't understand why you're moving away from him. After all, he's doing what you want him to do. He took a step. but you want to build the child up. So you force him to take the second step, and sometimes he falls. You stand him up, you try it again, do a second step. And this is how we teach children to walk. We keep on moving further and further away until they are independent and strong enough to walk on their own. That's what the Baal Shem Tov says about our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hu Yinhagenu Almos. He will lead us and guide us like a child. Sometimes you have to take a step back from your child so that the child can think for himself and make his own decisions. And making a mistake is fine, as long as you can, after that, teach the child what the mistake was, and as long as the child doesn't repeat his mistakes. And I call this in my family a child's experience. Sometimes a child needs to have an experience. You tell a child, we're not talking about putting your hand in a fire. You tell your child, don't put your hand in the fire, and the child starts putting his hand in the fire, you don't allow the child to have a child experience and burn himself. There are things that we know as parents. You tell your child not to do it, it's not good for you, it's not this. It's not a dangerous thing. The child gets himself a child experience, understands from himself now, and will internalize not to do it. It's a normal form of chinuch, giving a child his experience. Otherwise, the child never matures. And so the Rebbeinu Shalom sometimes realizes that we really have a lot of potential strength, but we're too lazy to fully develop it. And we just want to fall into his hands and have him do everything for us. But if he does everything for us, what does the Ramchal tell us? There's no schar. There's no reward for God doing everything for us. The Big Bang world, perfect world that God could have created, left nothing for me to do. And therefore, there's no reward. So God sometimes realizes that there's a person, and we all have unrealized potential. But there are certain people that work more on their potential, and some people that they reach a certain point and they say, I'm happy with myself. And that's a good place to be, but you need to realize that there's more that you can do. When God sees unrealized potential and the person just wants to fall into his arms and say, God, now you just do everything. God sometimes takes a step back, and sometimes we fall. And that fall is called not a punishment. We don't punish the child when he's learning how to walk. The child took a step, we move back. The child falls. Is that a punishment to the child? God forbid. It is with the greatest love to the child that we want the child to get up and take 2 steps. So sometimes the Ribono Shel Olam takes a step back so that you can realize your potential. You can do something you thought you couldn't do. And he gives us that space. And if we fall, it's not a punishment. Stand up. God is asking you to stand up and grow, blossom, mature. And this is the Baal Shem Tov's Hu Yinagenu Almos. God will guide us like a child. Sometimes he will take a step back and we think that he's removed from us. He's taking the step back to give us place to grow. So now the Shem Shmuel continues. V'nei b'midbar hoyu b'madrega gedola shoysa lahem miskalus elakusa gam macholam hayamachol ruchni lo osku b'shum ma'isa gashmi. The way the Jews lived in the Midbar, I would sign up for that program if I wasn't thinking clearly. But because I learned the Shem Shmuel, I wouldn't sign up for the program. If there was a program you can sign up for, and the program looks like this. We're going to go into the desert. We're going to live in 4 corners, 12 camps, 12 tribes. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to be the Rebbe. Aaron is going to be the Kohen Gadol. The Mishkan will be in the middle. Whenever you want to go to the Mishkan, you just take your little walk. You can bring your korban in the Mishkan. Whenever you have a Shaila, Moshe Rabbeinu is there to ask the Shaila. You don't have to go to work. No such thing as work. Everybody's got a tent or has the heavenly clouds protecting them. Food, forget about that. There's man falling every day. What do you have left to do? Nothing. My whole day is just in dealing with the spiritual realm. I have no physical issues that I need to deal with. I don't need to go to work. I don't need a bank account. I don't have to worry about the mortgage. I don't have to go shopping at the Makolit. There's nothing. I just have to learn from Moshe Rabbeinu and continue learning. But I don't have to engage at all in the physical world. In fact, because I'm eating mun, as the Gemara tells us, you don't have to go to the bathroom. There's nothing. There's no physical life. Literally no physical life. Now, let's all sign up for this program. It's unbelievable. Let's all go to the desert, create the 12 flags, build a Mishkan, get Moshe and Aaron back. What's this business with Mashiach? Beis Hamikdash in Yerushalayim. Let's go out to the desert. Let's get the Mishkan back, the 12 flags, and let's learn day and night with Moshe Rabbeinu. Don't sign up for the program. Shem Shmuel says, ze lohoye tachlis habriya. That is not God's purpose in creating the world. He created a physical world. Men, women, children, plants, crocodiles, beautiful plants, beautiful trees, beautiful fruits, kashmaka, juicy apple, orange, squeeze out the juice, the colors in the Mishkan, the gold and silver in the Beis Hamikdash. This was beautiful to look at. What do you need all these things for? Just go out to the desert and just look at sand and the sky and learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. And everything else that God created, he didn't really create for me. I have no use for it. This is not the tachlis of the Bria. This is not the purpose of creation. Ki hanashama koydem yiridasa la'olam hazeh ein machsa la b'shum davar. Because if you wanted the desert life, why were you born? Your neshama was already upstairs in front of the Kisei HaKavod, basking in the Ziv HaShechina. Why did God send it down to this world? Because he wants to torture your neshama? God forbid. Why did he send it down to this world? If the neshama is supposed to bask in the glory of God and be completely spiritual 24/7, why did God create this plan to take this beautiful neshama and put it in a physical body and bring it down to this physical earth? Because it's not the tachlis of the Bria to sit in front of the Kisei HaKavod and bask in spiritual glory. Lasid Lavai, pension time, as we spoke about yesterday, that can be a goal. But it's not the goal right now. Ach tachlis habriya, the purpose of creation was shagam ba'olam hazeh, ha'olam hagashmi tavaras Hashem yisborach. God created a physical world and sent the people down to this physical world and sent the Torah down to this physical world so that we can spiritualize. We can elevate this physical world to all become part of the service of the Rabbeinu Shalom. That's what the physical world is about, and that's why we're here. We're not here to live in the midbar spiritual 24/7 world. We are here. And he puts in parentheses the famous Yiddish Hasidic saying, Adurch haken von alles, von allem. We're here in this world to take a sledgehammer and break through all the walls and barriers that the physical world puts in front of us. There are all kinds of challenges and stumbling blocks and walls and blockades, and we have to have the courage to take that spiritual hammer and break it down and go to the next level. And at the next level, there are challenges. There's another wall. Take your spiritual sledgehammer, break it down, and go to the next level. And that's what this is about. And the way we break these things is by using the physical parts of the world in order to lift up those physical parts of the world. By that, lifting up the whole world. When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai to be Makabel the Torah, the Malachim pleaded with God, the Gemara says, Rebbeinu Shalom, what in the world are you doing? You're taking this beautiful Torah, and you're giving it to Moshe Rabbeinu. He's a human being. He's going to bring it down to the human beings, and they're going to do what they're going to violate the Torah. They're going to do whatever they want. They're going to chasham, desecrate the Torah. Forget that idea, Rebbeinu Shalom. Please give the Torah to the Malachim. Give it to us. We're perfect. We will be Shoyim Torah mitzvahs perfect. There will never be an Aveira. What are you doing? Why did God send the Torah down to human beings? Why? He knew that human beings would violate the Torah. Why didn't he give it to the Malachim? So Ribono Shel Olam said to Moshe, Moshe, I want you to answer the Malachim. Moshe answered the Malachim. Moshe said, Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher tisich me'etzam. Let's go through the 10 commandments. God took you out of Mitzrayim. Did you ever go to Mitzrayim? Were you ever slaves that you need an appreciation of Yetzias Mitzrayim? Keep Shabbos as a rest day. Do you work that you need a rest day? Honor your father and your mother, your fathers and mothers. What Torah do you want, Malachim? This Torah was written for human beings who have parents, and you need to learn how to respect your parents, even if you disagree with them. You need to keep Shabbos, even if you want to watch college football on Shabbos. You need to keep Shabbos, even if you want to take a smoke on Shabbos. You need to understand God exists and took you out of Mitzrayim because he's the sovereign of the world. And you can't steal, you can't murder, and you can't pillage, and you can't run riots through the street by which you injure innocent people. You can't do these things. God says you can't do them. Now, what do you want, Malachim? Do you have any desire to riot in the streets? You have any desire? Is there jealousy above you in the heavens that you want to kill one another? What Torah do you want, Malachim? So Moshe Rabbeinu won the debate because the Ribono Shel Olam said he's right. This is a Torah that needs to go down to human beings who have the trials and tribulations and challenges and the Yetzer Hara. And this is the Torah that they're going to use to make themselves better, improve themselves, improve the world. That's where the Torah belongs. Adur Haken von Allem. Use the Torah to break through these things and make the physical world a better world. Shabbos. We talk about Shabbos, we get a Neshama Yesera, a new separate extra neshama. What is this neshama Yesera? Rashi, the Masechta Beya and Daf Tes Zayin says, you know what a neshama Yesera is? It's a neshama Yesera that gives you the ability to eat more l'kavod Shabbos. Huh? My neshama Yesera gives me a bigger appetite. Right? We all have bigger appetites on Shabbos. Many of us do. As you get older, you learn not to eat a lot more than you eat during the week because your system's not used to it. And the Gemara has a discussion about that. But the new intense appetite for the kiddush with the rogala, the herring and the crackers, the challah and the fish and the 3 different salads, the cholent with the meat, the cold cuts with the cholent, the potato kugel with the kishka, the Yerushalmi kugel, and then 2 different kinds of parva ice creams and dessert. You can't eat that during the week. But all of a sudden, Shabbos, you can eat it, and you want more. It's neshama Yesera, Rashi says. Now imagine that idea. My neshama, this holy thing called neshama, God gave me an extra one so that I can eat more on Shabbos. That's a Rashi Beya Daf Tes Zayin Amud Aleph. Why am I celebrating this holy day by being able to eat more? Because the holiness of Shabbos infuses the whole creation. It infuses you with more holiness. So while during the week you had 100 watts of holiness, and 100 watts of holiness can only convert a 2-course meal into something spiritual, on Shabbos, the Neshama Yesera gives you a 200 watt spirituality, and now you can convert a 7-course meal into something ruchni. You don't have that capacity during the week. The 7-course meal during the week is, as they say, gefressen. But the 7-course meal on Shabbos, you can elevate that because you now have spirituality of Shabbos. You're on spirituality steroids. You can convert 7 courses into holiness. So we're here in this world to deal with the physical trials, tribulations, challenges, to know how to earn money, earn it honestly, to know how to spend money honestly, to know how to shop in a supermarket and makolet, to know how to walk through the streets and not look at things that we're not supposed to look at. We're not hermits, and we don't go and lock ourselves in, and as others do. We don't get married. We just go to the top of a mountain and we pray the whole day. It's not Judaism. Judaism is to come down from the mountain and engage in this world in a Torah way to lift up the world. Rabbi say, what did God do when we came into Eretz Yisrael? Unfortunately, it took 40 years to get there, but what did he do? He cut off the man. Why did he cut off the man? It sounds backwards. In the Midbar, they had plenty of meat, and they had plenty of things that they could eat. We know that they had plenty of things they could eat. They were able to buy from different merchants. And besides that, they had plenty of their own cattle. Why do they need man? But when you come into Eretz Yisrael, and there's going to be a Beis HaMikdash, and you're in the holiest place in the world, you should be learning 24/7. I came to Eretz Yisrael to learn 24/7. And now God should start pouring down the man, so I don't have to go to work. Purim, Moshe Kapoyim. In the Midbar, God gave me man. And when I came into Eretz Yisrael, where I want to learn 24/7 in the holiest place in the world, God stops the man and says, you need to go into your field and start working your field. You need to start plowing, seeding, cutting. It takes a lot of time. I'd rather learn. I was learning in the Midbar for 40 years with Moshe. Why did you cut off my man? It's not the tachlis. The tachlis is to learn how to be a frum, shomer Torah, mitzvahs. I take out the word frum. How to learn to be a shomer Torah, mitzvahs, yid within this world. While you're planting, how many mitzvahs are there in the field? Peah, Shleket, Shikha, Truma, Meiser, Damai, Shemitah. The Talmud Chacham that a farmer had to be is beyond anything we can imagine. You had to be a tremendous Talmud Chacham to be an appropriate farmer. You can't do that in Chutz La'aretz. So when the Ribono Shel Olam says, I'm getting ready to take you into Eretz Yisrael, I want to show you something. The Oron, the center of the Torah, the Oron, is not going to be so convenient for you anymore. Right now in the Midbar, it's convenient. All the Jewish people are encircled around the Mishkan. The Mishkan has the Aron. Moshe Rabbeinu's there. I have a shayla. I want to learn. Let's get up. Let's take a short walk to Moshe Rabbeinu. We'll learn for an hour. Let's go into the Mishkan. We'll bring a korban. Not so fast anymore. In Eretz Yisrael, you're going to have to work for your holiness. It's not going to be spoon-fed holiness like it was in the Midbar. Go whenever you want, come whenever you want. It's mon. There's no worries. There's no tirdis. Nothing. It's spoon-fed spirituality. That's not the tachlis of the world. Tachlis of the world is when you come into Eretz Yisrael, I cut off the mon, go into your field. And in that field, you're going to learn how to take off trumas. You're going to learn to take off maisus. You're going to learn to mai. You're going to learn peah. And in that physical world of plowing and sowing, you're going to learn what you can't plant together because it's klayim. And you're going to make the whole Eretz Yisrael of one piece of Torah. The land will be breathing spirituality. The land will have truma and maisa taken from it. The land will have shemitah. You're going to convert the land into a spiritual asset. That's the tachlis of the world. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Torah down to this world, to actualize the spirituality of this world. The Shem Mishmol says, and this was the God's intention. Sheyalu la'eretz Yisrael. They should go to Eretz Yisrael. V'yizru v'yichrashu. They should plan and plow. Haynu sheyasku b'dvar v'gashmiyim. People should learn how to engage in the physical part of the world. And nevertheless, while you're engaging in the most physical things in the world, plowing, cutting, reaping, making flour, making dough, making a dough, how much challah do you have to take off for the kohen? How much do you separate? How large does the dough have to be? You almost can't do anything in Eretz Yisrael, a physical act that doesn't say you have some spirituality to it. You can drive around America. When we used to take trips, my family and I, you throw some tuna fish cans and some mayonnaise cans. You don't even have to do that into the car. And you drive by, you eat fruits and vegetables. You stop off at a 7-Eleven, you buy fruits and vegetables. Who's worried about fruits and vegetables in America? You come to Eretz Yisrael, you throw tuna fish and mayonnaise into your car, and you want to buy some fruits and vegetables, you got to look for the sign, who took off Trumas and Maasros here. And if there weren't Trumas and Maasros taken off, you got to be a member of the Truma Maasros, one of the organizations, so you can make the bracha yourself. You can't just drive up and down Eretz Yisrael and do the simplest things. The simplest things in Chutz La'aretz, you jump into a car, jump into a 7-Eleven, tuna fish, mayonnaise, and some vegetables. You can't do it here. Vegetables and fruits are incredibly holy. You need to know where the fruits and vegetables were Trumas and Maasros. That's why God brought us into Eretz Yisrael, to understand how to actualize the spirituality of a physical world and to serve Hashem in that physical world. And this is the message of God. The Aron is not going to be in the center, ready to spoon food you spirituality at your convenience. The Aron is now 3 days away. You want Torah, you're going to have to chase after it. It's not going to be so easy. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're daven vasikin. You're going to have to run maybe to a daf yomi. Then you have to run to work, get on the train, get on the bus, get to work. And you're going to have to go to work. And at work, maybe you'll have a mincha. And maybe you'll be able to squeeze in some learning during your break. And then you come home from work. Come home from work, you're going to daven mincha ma'ariv. And then you're going to run to another shiur. You're going to be running to try to get some Torah. It's not going to be in the middle, spoon-fed. I feel like learning now. I'm going to go talk to Moshe Rabbeinu. He's a 15-minute walk from here. 15-minute walks. And Rebbeinu Shalom is telling us when you get there, Israel, the Oren is 3 days away from you. You want to learn, you're going to have to chase it. It's going to be a challenge to get to it. And the only way you'll get to it is if you passionately want it and chase after it. It's not spoon-fed anymore, because part of your day is going to be filled with working the field. And the Jewish people didn't understand this concept of why God created the world and why God is bringing them to Eretz Yisrael. They thought God's bringing them to Eretz Yisrael so that Eretz Yisrael would be the Mishkan on steroids. If we didn't work in the Midbar and we had man in the Midbar, certainly we're going to have man in Eretz Yisrael. So God showed them right away, the Oren is moving away, it's 3 days, you're going to have to run after it. And they got the message. Eretz Yisrael is not going to be the midbar. It's not going to be spoon-fed anymore. I'm going to have to passionately chase it. They didn't like that idea. They liked spoon-fed spirituality. Moshe Rabbeinu, 15 minutes away, I'm going to go ask him a shayla. The Oren is now 3 days away, and I have to run after it to chop a little spirituality. Let's take this slow. And therefore Rashi says, they became belly achers. Do we really have to get to Eretz Yisrael so quickly? Maybe we can slow this down. We like the midbar. This is great. I love this program. I'm not ready to go so fast to Eretz Yisrael where I'm going to have to deal with the trials, tribulations, and challenges of the physical world. I don't want to get down on my knees in my field and have to plant and have to work through the Trumas U'Maisros and the Shemitah. This is great in the midbar. Let the man continue coming, but that's not the tachlis of the Bria. The Jews, however, belly ached. They weren't ready to work for it. They wanted it spoon-fed for them. And that's why even we need to take that lesson to heart. Spoon-fed spirituality, it comes and it goes. Spirituality that a person gains by his own work, by his own passion. Sometimes you have to run after it to appreciate it. You worked so hard for something, you appreciate it. It comes easy, you don't appreciate it. The Torah, Yogata Umatzasa, the Gemara says, Talmud, if you worked hard at learning, you can believe that learning will stay with you. If you didn't work that hard and you just zipped through it, you understand it, put your zip to it, you didn't really work on it, you're going to forget it. You've got the matzah. And the purpose of coming to Eretz Yisrael was not to continue eating man. It was to come to a place where there is no man and to engage in the physical world of Eretz Yisrael and to spiritualize the physical world of Eretz Yisrael, which can't be done in Chutz La'aretz. You can't take off Trumas and Maasros in Chutz La'aretz. You can do whatever you want, but it's meaningless. It's only here in Eretz Yisrael with this ultimate message of the purpose of creation, why Moshe brought down the Torah to spiritualize the physical world. This is the only place it can happen. Rav Kook talks about this in great detail when we were learning Rav Kook or the Torah. This is the place where you can do it. Everybody have a wonderful day. Those of you that need refuah should have refuahs. Those of you that need Yeshua should have Yeshuas. Those of you that need Nechamas should have Nechamas. Yeshuas, refuahs, Nechamas only come from the Rebbeinu Shalom because he's the Echad, Yochad, and Miyuchad. Special reminder for Tehillim, young girl, 7 years old, Tova Esther, Bas Leah Miriam, L'Refuah Shlema Shachal Yisrael, Netanel Ilan Ben Shana Tzipora, soldier, L'Refuah Shlema Shachal Yisrael. Again, the Rebbeinu Shalom loves healthy Jews. Healthy Jews can learn. Healthy Jews can be Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Do what's right. Don't be pressured into doing something by going to a place that is not absolutely safe. Unfortunately, the numbers are rising in Eretz Yisrael. Hashem Yishmar. Do what you have to do. Don't do what you don't have to do. If your neighbors are going somewhere, don't feel pressured you have to go there if it's not the right thing for you to do. I understand. I myself go to an outside minyan. There are still Chaniyah minyanim. If that's what is the healthy thing for you to do, continue doing that. Everybody have a wonderful day, a good Shabbos, and Me'at Hashem next week. Mashiach will finish Midas and he'll build the base HaMikdash. If Chas v'Shalom that doesn't happen, we're going to have a Simchat Tzuma. Me'at Hashem next Thursday. We'll make a Siyum on the Sechta Midas. Zayik Gesund, have a good Shabbos.